Okay, so I got a 1715 tractor I bought in '07, and I've abused it since I've owned it. Shouldn't have, and we're going to try and work on some of that here in just a minute. But I don't know what year it is. I can't remember what year it is. I can't remember if it's a 87 or a 97, but I bought it in '07, and I've been hard working at it since I bought it. But it sits. So with the tractor, and the abuse is I need it for a day, I need it for a week, I need it for a short period of time. I use it and then I go park it. And last time I used it, I set it outside over the winter time. I didn't in fact put it away, and I should have. But now the clutch is stuck on it, so I'm going to work on the clutch here in a little bit. And there's a brush rig, fire brush rig in the background, and I'll explain that here in just a minute, just a little bit. But I'm going to try and get the clutch unstuck on this, and I'm going to try and grease it. Grease gun, got a grease gun right here, and I'll probably put some grease to it because it needs a little love. And there's quite a few grease zerts on it, but the first thing we're going to try and do is work on getting the clutch unstuck on this, and I'm going to go around right now and show you that brush rig in the background. The brush rig, we've had quite a few brush fires as of late, and it's on standby, and I'll show you why the back end of that has a plastic bag over it. Okay, just a brief explanation on the brush rig. Generally, if you're driving the brush rig, they call you an engineer. You commute to point A to point B, you get to point B, and your job generally is to keep track of how many people are in the truck, what their call signs are on the truck, and their well-beings on the truck. But you're going to come back and be an engineer, and you're going to keep track of how much water's in the tank, and how the pump's doing, And this sign I covered up, which I think is an excellent idea. It has all the call signs, has all the people in the department, in my department, has all their call signs, so you can keep track of. It's always hard for me to keep track of the name of the person compared to this call sign. So call signs would be, let's say BR 549. Then you could look and you could see who's actually talking, because I have a hard time keeping track. And then on the bottom of it actually has, so this is brush rig, it's got a call sign on it, and then there's another brush rig and another brush rig in the district. I think we have 4 now. You can keep track of what brush rig's on the scene at the time, and which brush rig is actually leaving the scene. Which tender means where I can find water, how much water that tender has. That's all on here, but I didn't want to show that. So let's go back over here for just a minute. Okay, I'm going to spin the camera down because the first thing that in my research everybody says is adjust the clutch pedal. Work on the clutch pedal and then clamp the clutch pedal fully engaged, which I got a clamp up here. So I'm going to adjust the clutch pedal, fully engage the clutch, and in most cases, you see Martin's in the background. Martin wants to say hello. Most cases, they look for an inspection cover to put brake clean in to get the clutch to disengage from the flywheel. In my case, I've looked, I don't have that. I may have to pull a starter, but first, let's adjust the clutch, because right now I have about 1 inch of travel before the clutch is engaged. And I'll bring the camera over so you can actually see that if Martin stays out of the way for a little bit. Okay, should be able to see Martin in the picture. I don't know if he'll stay out of the way very much, but okay. But I can show you kind of from there, that's at rest, to there. That might even be greater than 1 inch. That distance travel before the clutch even engages. So I'm going to try and engage or adjust this clutch and take some of that out of it before I move forward. Okay, you should have a good shot of that now. And in my case, it's fairly easy. Some cases it's actually down below, but in my case, see, there's a linkage arm. That's a clutch. And that's the linkage, and I'm just going to pull that cotter pin off there. And I've already loosened the jam nut on the top. I'm going to spin it down, and I'm going to try and take some of that travel out of it. We're just going to work on this cotter pin right here a little bit. No major deal. Cotter pin's out. There's a washer right there. Pull that off there, that turnbuckle, and then I'm going to thread this into that jam nut. And I'm probably going to go with, let's go with turn and a half and see how we do. And then try and get that back in place. Okay. Okay, before I reestablish that, I'm going to try that travel and see, but let me get that in there. There we go. That looks good. That looks good. Okay, it's back in there. Okay. I still think that's quite a bit of travel before it engages, so let's go one more turn. Loosen that jam nut up again. Okay, and then let's put that back in place. Push that down. Okay. Okay, so that is a significant improvement from what it was. So I'm going to put it back. I'm going to reestablish it so that I don't lose track of what's going on. Get that cotter pin back in there. And tight. Okay, so the other thing everybody says, take a clamp, pull it all the way engaged. Okay. See if that'll hold now. Okay. And then I'm just going to leave it alone for a little bit. One guy said he actually put kerosene, but he actually had a hole he could put on the clutch, and I don't have that. I got to pull the starter, so I'm just going to leave it like that for a couple days. Now I'm going to try and get some grease in some of these joints, and see if I can put a little grease in here, because that clutch lever actually has a grease cert on it. I haven't greased since I owned it. Okay, so you should be back where you can actually see the tractor. Let's see if this grease gun, last I used it, it was pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit and then see if that actually works or not.